Could drafting a wide receiver at 15 overall indirectly hurt one Bronco with big expectations? This is a interesting point that I've heard the morning show bring up. I've heard
Of course they have.
D-Mac bring it up before.
Of course he has.
We have not specifically talked about it yet, but I think that it's worth mentioning. If the Broncos already have a number one wide receiver in Courtland Sutton, and they go on to draft a wide receiver at 15, maybe because you think he's better than Sutton, or he could be a number one.
Hey, how about this? Maybe you think he's going to be a really good football player.
They think he's going to be a really good football player. Is Noah Fant not going to be as prioritized as a first-round pick himself in that scenario? Like how does this all work? You picked the 20th overall, and you selected Noah Fant. Would you be indirectly taking away of what serving size he would be getting on his plate when you know you're going to feature Sutton? You have to feature your 15th overall pick, but you got a first-round tight end as well.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you look at the situation and you know, it's just you just want good football players on the field. And if you're a good football player and you put yourself around other good football players, all of a sudden you become great altogether. And you want to give your quarterback a lot of options with a lot of really good football players. And if you have two really good wide receivers on the outside that you're moving all around and that are drawing a lot of attention from the defense, well, guess what? Your tight end's got a lot of one-on-one matchups. And your tight end is going to be getting favorable mismatches. And so now, you know, it's hit or miss for defenses. What are you going to do? Pick your poison. And I've been on offenses that have had a couple high-profile wide receivers, a really good tight end, a really good running back. Hey, the more the merrier, right? Spread the football around. It's hard for defenses to stop you. It's only going to help the running game out. But certainly when you look at a guy like Noah Fant, I think it should just help him. Just take a deep breath. You don't have to carry this offense. You are a first-round draft pick, right? A lot is expected of you. But all of a sudden you draft a receiver at 15 to pair him with Courtland Sutton. I think that takes some of the pressure off of Noah Fant being a number 20 overall pick and just say, hey, just go out there and be a part of this offense. We're not asking you to carry this offense. Just be a part of it. And I think in that situation he could really shine.
You know, the way you just said that, we're not asking you to shoulder the burden here. We just need you to be a part of something. If you do draft a receiver at 15 or at 20, whatever, if you move back, that's probably what you're asking of everyone.
Certainly.
You don't need Courtland Sutton to shoulder this burden. You'd be splitting it 3 or 4 different ways, maybe 5 different ways between Sutton, Noah Fant, say whatever receiver, let's say Henry Ruggs, Melvin Gordon, Phillip Lindsay. You're kind of dividing this pie. You know what it is? You know what it could be? You know what it could be, Brandon Stokley?
What?
A team lift.
A team lift. Well, Zach, you know, a team lift, right? You know, 1, 2, 3, lift. Exactly. And the way that I was thinking of it is, you know, when you got to do the bulk of the lifting, right? A lot of pressure's on you every single week to go out there and perform. And if you don't perform, guess what? The offense is going to stink. I kind of put it myself in that situation and think back to my post-playing days when I started doing radio. I had to do that on a daily basis with CJ. Okay, I had to carry him on a daily basis. There's a lot of pressure that comes with that, Zach. Every day to show up and dominate and carry a radio show. All of a sudden, I got freed up a little bit, okay? You see what I'm saying? Like, you took some of that pressure off of me because you are also a great player. Okay, you follow me here?
I like this
analogy. Does that make sense? You like this?
I really like it.
So this could be the situation for the Broncos. Look, Courtland Sutton, you don't have to be the guy week in and week out that if you don't perform in the passing game, oh, man, this passing game is going to struggle. Noah Fant, you're freed up. Just put more pieces around your quarterback, around your young football players, and then they all can be great together. And they make defenses defensive coordinators just pull their hair out. What are we going to do to stop these guys? Well, look at their running backs. Look at the weapons that they have on the offensive side of the football. I think the more the merrier. I don't think that it will delay your development at all. I think it will speed it up and it will take some of the pressure off of you.
Interesting. I really like that perspective. And that's really what the Broncos are trying to do, right? They're not trying to get a receiver to get to 1,200 yards. You don't get any award for that. you're trying to have an offense to not average 17 points a game. And you can't tell me, this is going back to the our wide receiver at 15 topic, you can't tell me that having thoroughbreds out there, more thoroughbreds is not a good thing for this.
Right.
This has been one of the worst offenses in football, a bottom 5 offense. So yeah.
I think it helped Dallas Clark. Look, I keep on going back to Indy, but I think it's pretty comparable. And I'm not comparing, any of our guys. I'm not comparing Dallas Clark to Noah Fant or Reggie Wayne to Cortland or, anything like that. But I go back to Dallas Clark. He was a young tight end. We drafted him in the first round there in 2003, my first year there. But they had 2 pretty good wide receivers. Reggie wasn't Reggie yet. But at the same time, you saw Dallas. It took him a couple years to get going there. And once he got going, he was really dynamic. But I think it took some of that pressure off of him. And help him develop where he didn't have to come in. Usually when you're a first-round pick, man, this team is expecting you to go out there and deliver at a very high level. And if you don't do it, you're a bust after a year.
Right.
You're a bust. But guess what? If the other guys are doing it for you, you kind of get overlooked a little bit, and you kind of get more time to go out there because the offense is still productive. And you're still doing some good things because you got a lot of weapons around you. And then you get your feet under you, get comfortable, and you don't feel that pressure and that of going out there week in and week out and carrying an offense because you were the number 20 overall pick a couple years ago. So I actually like this for Noah Fant. I think it could help him out that if they put more pieces around him and just free him up a little bit more.
Yeah, and what you just said about you want the instant production. Just a minute before you said that, we had a RamosLaw.com text come in. Fant is a bust.
Yeah, it was all last year, remember?
What? Not from us.
No.
It was the social media mob
right.
Who wanted to, put a label on this kid after he played 7 professional football games.
Right.
And then after 16 of them, you look back and go, it was the greatest rookie season in the history of the organization at the tight end position. So, yeah, people are crazy. And I am talking to you, 697. You're crazy saying that this kid's a bust after 1 year. A couple other thoughts here. One from the RamosLaw.com text line. Someone says, think Ed McCaffrey, Rod Smith, and Shannon Sharp. Like,
how about that?
It's not like, no, we don't need one of these guys because we already have one. No, you add more good players and
TD toting the rock.
Right.
I mean,
right.
That's sounds like a good recipe for me. But no, let's not go out there and I understand. Rod was a free agent and Ed was picked up after getting cut by a couple teams or whatever it was. So they weren't like they were first round picks.
Right.
But still,
right.
You're looking for good football players to surround your quarterback with. John Elway was a pretty good quarterback, but man, he couldn't win the big game. But they got him a running game and Terrell Davis.
Right.
So I mean, it just this is just the talk about adding another receiver to me is just ridiculous. Like, we don't want to add another receiver because we have one wide receiver. I haven't seen many football games played where you just use one wide receiver most of the time.
Yeah, no, it's certainly not in Pat Shurmur's offense as well.
No, it just doesn't make sense at all. If you can find yourself a great wide receiver, go ahead and get yourself a great wide receiver and pair him with Cortland Sutton and pair him with Noah Fant and put that guy with Drew Lock. I just think the more the merrier, right? I mean, the more the merrier. Let's have a party. Let's see some fireworks. Let's see some points. You score points by having great football players around your quarterback. And yes, it's a dependent position, Mike Evans. I got it. But, man, your quarterback's depending on you also.
Right.
And your young quarterback is depending on playmakers around him to help his development. So he's also playing in a dependent position. So let's not forget that.
God, that's good stuff,
How
man.
about that? That felt good. I mean, that felt good. And I hope you save that, Stephen Priest, and you send that to Millennial Ben, you send that to DeHuff, and you send that to Mike Evans and Mark Slareth, and I want to hear what they have to say about that.
You brought, or one of our listeners brought up Ed McCaffrey. I was looking at Ed's career the other day. This is crazy. Well, it's crazy to me. Ed McCaffrey was in the league for 8 years before he ever went over 610 yards.
Trying to find the right spot.
Trying to find the right spot, the right fit. It just, you look at his career with the Giants, it's like 146 yards, 600 yards, 300 yards, 131 yards, 477 yards, 553 yards, 590 yards. It wasn't until he was 30 years old where he really broke out and was a 1,000-yard receiver.
Yeah, it's just, trying to find the right fit, Zach, is a big part of it. And then, staying healthy at the right time. You might get banged up, and all of a sudden you have a down year and they draft a first rounder. And so guess what? That first rounder is going to get a lot of opportunities and a lot more than you. So it's a lot that goes into being successful in the NFL than just being a good football player. Pretty much everybody that comes in the NFL is a pretty good football player, right? And some of them find ways to make it because they're just a little bit more fortunate and lucky and hit it at the right time. And others are good football players and they don't make it because they're a little bit unlucky. They get injured at the wrong time and they're with the wrong organization. And that organization drafts a couple wide receivers and now their options and their opportunities are a lot more limited. So you see a guy like Ed, it just took a while for him to get those opportunities. And once he got them, he took advantage of them, and there he goes. He was a big part of it.